Hi, welcome to Just Common Sense. Guess what? My name's Brian Harrison again. Yes, everybody give me applause. Yeah, finally, I get an applause tonight. That's awesome. So, we got Jerry and we got Charles on the phone with us tonight again. So, we're going to give them an applause. Hey, guys, give them applause. Awesome. Great. Everybody got an applause tonight. Sorry we're getting on late. I can blame somebody, but I won't. All right, so anyway, that being said, we're going to talk about a couple things. We're going to make this not a long podcast, but we're going to talk about Kevin McCarthy, the House Speaker, first of all. That's one thing we want to talk about. And you know what? When it comes to Kevin McCarthy right now, I got to say this. I am not happy with him. When he first started, he sounded good. He talked a big talk, but he didn't walk the big walk. The man doesn't do much of anything. I'm starting to realize that he is not a good House Speaker. He should not be in that position right now. I am almost putting him not quite as bad as Nancy Pelosi, but the way he's doing this and handling this whole thing, not doing a very good job, in my opinion. He keeps talking.
He's doing a bad job in a different way than Pelosi.
Yes.
Pelosi was just evil. He's just not getting it done.
Right, and that's the problem. And here we go with Joe Biden. He keeps talking, oh, impeachment, but you keep talking, but you're not doing it. I need more evidence. No, you got enough evidence. You keep getting evidence, and we're coming up into an election real quick here, and by the time you start this impeachment, it's going to be too late. It already is too late in one area, which, who was that just got, the grand jury. What was that about? You know what I'm talking about, Jerry? We just talked about it the other night.
Wait, which one now?
I can't remember. I'm completely blank on this. It was, I forget his name. The guy that he can't be a witness anymore. You and I just talked about this.
Well, there's David Weiss.
There it is. Thank you. David Weiss. That's who we're talking about. I went completely blank, guys. Sorry about that. And I'm pretty good at getting these things quick, but that one just got me off my thoughts there for a minute. Yeah, so go ahead, Jerry. Talk about David Weiss for a minute and why. You and I talked about this.
David Weiss, there's a number of reasons that him being the special counsel should not have happened. One, If you look at the rules for who is eligible to be a special counsel, it is somebody from outside the government.
Right.
And that is why they are not just an investigating team, they're a special counsel because they're being brought in from outside of the government. And so David Weiss is, basically a federal attorney or a federal judge. And so he was also, now get this, here's one of the things, or actually he's a federal attorney, I should say. But here's one of the things, he's the guy that put together Hunter Biden's plea deal, that crazy plea deal that the judge said, no, we can't have this. So Not only did he put together this crazy plea deal to please Joe Biden and Hunter Biden, but it wasn't even good enough to get past the judge. So if he can't even get something like that past the judge, why should he be promoted to the position of a special counsel?
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, which means that the investigation is essentially over because he's going to on purpose not find anything. And
or let the clock run out on the charges.
Right.
Yeah, that's the argument for impeachment, because if they do impeach Biden, they can actually investigate Biden and Hunter.
Correct.
That's where David Weiss has it all plugged up.
That's correct. That's what we were talking about.
And not only that, but now, if he's the special counsel investigating Hunter Biden, you also now can't call Hunter Biden as a witness.
Correct.
You can't call Weiss, which Congress is getting ready to do.
Right.
You can't call Joe Biden because he's involved. So all these people that the House needed to call for the Judicial Committee, they can't call now because they'll just say, "Oh yeah, I'm part of that investigation." Under David Weiss. Yep.
That's what we were just talking about. I heard it. I heard all this actually the other day. I was listening to all this. Same thing Jerry was just talking about. And, that's where I'm going to go with it. I mean, here we go, Kevin McCarthy. Little too late. You keep talk. But if you would have done something about this and started the impeachment proceedings and all this, this may not have happened. But again, the Democrats outsmarted you because you aren't fast enough. You're scared of something. What are you scared of, Kevin McCarthy? You should not be sitting.
Brian, I want to touch on something you just said.
I'm going to say it. Go ahead.
You just said that he waited too long.
Point,
yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Go
Well,
ahead,
no,
Jerry.
but you said he waited too long, and
Yeah.
a lot of people don't realize how critical what you just said is.
Yes.
Because by waiting too long, had McCarthy gone ahead and allowed the impeachment proceeding to start, or at least the investigation
Exactly.
to start, then now they could be telling David Weiss, no, you can't talk to Hunter Biden. And no, you can't talk to Joe Biden.
Right.
And they could be telling Weiss, no, you can't have access to our witnesses. But this is one of those first come, first serve type of situations.
Right.
And since Weiss is up first, he's going to get his way, and he's just going to let the statute of limitations
Correct.
expire and all this stuff if he doesn't just throw it out altogether.
Yep. Oh, yeah. And that's why I was talking about, that's why I wanted to bring this up. And that's where it is. Kevin McCarthy, I mean, they outsmarted him again because he's sitting up there doing nothing. And he could have handled this, started this. I mean, you have Marjorie Taylor Greene. I could go through many names in the House right now. They're yelling, impeach Biden. Start the process. And why is he just keep sitting back doing nothing?
But he's been waiting for the perfect moment. The perfect moment never comes around. And,
right.
And both you guys know that I'm a big fan of famous quotes from history. General George Patton, once when somebody was talking about, hey, let's wait till we have this and wait till we have this, his quote was, the perfect plan, or I mean, a good plan executed vigorously right now.
You're breaking up, Jerry.
Perfect plan. Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah, you're breaking up there for a minute. Okay. I don't know what happened. Go ahead.
Yeah, but his quote was, a good plan executed vigorously right now is better than the perfect plan executed next week.
Jerry, we lost you all together. I didn't hear any of that. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, it's not quite in the right spot. Yeah, there's Mike Tyson has a quote. It's a little simpler than that. He says, everybody has a plan until you punch them in the mouth.
Yep.
Yeah. So, sorry, we got Jerry back. I don't know what was going on. I could hear Charles, but I couldn't hear Jerry.
Okay, so Patton's quote was, a good plan executed vigorously right now is better than the perfect plan executed next week.
Well said, and that's great. Absolutely.
And so if McCarthy had started his plan, we would already be in it, but he was waiting for the perfect scenario, which never happens.
Right. And more evidence came up against the Bidens today. And guess what? What's going on with McCarthy? All I can hear is nothing. Absolutely nothing from McCarthy. It's crickets in the air because he's not doing his job. Yes, everybody out there, maybe you ought to look at Kevin McCarthy, and he should not be House Speaker. Maybe it's time to impeach him for not doing his job. I don't know. Anyway,
Jim Jordan said, I think it was at the end of July. Back then, he said, well, Kevin McCarthy looks like he's open to starting a congressional inquiry into an impeachment.
Yeah.
That was at the end of July.
Yes.
And that's
2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's the problem. And what's he doing now? I mean, they're just going to keep going on with this, and it's just going to get nowhere. I mean, so we've got that going on. We've also got another indictment. It's going to come out. Well, I don't think it's coming out tonight. It sounded like it was maybe tomorrow. Out of Georgia, guys. There was a document released. How many was it? 30? How many charges were in that? 33 or something like that. Is that right, guys? Did you read that?
Yeah, it's 30 something. Yeah,
I think it was 33 charges. And 39 charges. And Charles, I already heard about this. I'm going to let Charles have the floor for a minute so he can tell what happened, because I heard the same thing he did. Go ahead, Charles. Explain what went on.
Well, let's see. According to an article in Breitbart, I don't know if it was a clerk or the DA down there, but they posted a list of 39 charges against Trump. But the thing is, the grand jury is supposed to convene and meet and go over the evidence and decide if charges are warranted and what charges are warranted. And if they are, then they say they charge them with this, and then you release the charges. Well, the grand jury hadn't even met. So they have a list of 39 charges against Trump before the grand jury even met. So talk about a kangaroo court.
Well, yeah, and talk about, like Jerry said earlier, I mean, this whole case should be thrown out right now just because of that. Marjorie Taylor Greene just mentioned it. And she was saying that he should be kicked out. This guy.
Absolutely.
This DA.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's crazy. Crazy what's going on
I'll
down
tell you,
there.
The Democrats, like Trump says, they're ruthless and they stick together. But fortunately, they're incompetent.
And there's more access to information than ever before in history.
Yeah.
So when something like this happens, everybody can hear it. This isn't something we're going to pick up a newspaper a week from now and hear about it for the first time. We learn about things in real time. We're in a 24/7 news cycle. And, I remember when I was a kid, you might read an article in the paper about something that happened in Oregon 2 weeks ago, but it was fresh news to us.
Yeah.
And, now it's, something could happen on the other side of the world, and we know it now.
Oh, yeah. Let's talk about one other thing, and we'll go back into this. But so we heard what happened in Hawaii. God, people died. I can't remember what the count. Last I heard, it was 60-some people, 68 or 69. It could be more than that
higher
by
than
now.
that now. I think it's almost 100.
Oh, this
and
is...
they say that
last I heard was 96.
Right.
Yeah, 1,500 people are missing.
Oh, this is terrible. And it happened approximately, what was it, 3 days ago? Was that right? Or 2 days, guys? Do you remember? I think it was somewhere around there. So I want to say something. And they asked Biden today, they said, are you going to talk about what happened in Hawaii? You know what his comment was? While he's out there at the beach, by the way. No comment. No comment. You realize when that happened, a real president would have been on TV speaking right away saying, we're going to go ahead and send money. We're going to go ahead and help these people down there. We're going to do the right thing. But Biden's so busy at the beach with his son probably doing drugs down there. I mean, if they're all together right now, I mean, it's gotten ridiculous. It has gotten ridiculous. And the Democrats who actually see this stuff and they just sit back, how can they even do this? I mean, that just either shows they don't care about people or they're just that ignorant. I'm going to say it.
Both.
Yeah, exactly. And it's
Brian,
ridiculous.
To put that in perspective, though, to throw this out there, okay, you got to remember Hawaii has had erupting volcanoes.
Sure.
It has had typhoons. This is the worst natural disaster in Hawaii's history.
Exactly.
For the president to be absent and to just say no comment,
right,
is just unbelievably inappropriate.
I know.
So that's what I just can't believe in. And I do have to say I'm pretty sure that there's at least a few people that just decided not to vote for Joe Biden for re-election because of that.
Right.
And, he'll turn it around and he'll gain
will.
some of them back, but I think that some he's lost for good.
Yeah.
I think it's just clear Biden doesn't care. He doesn't
Absolutely.
care about American people. He doesn't care about the plight of people in Hawaii, even though that's his responsibility, to say something.
Right.
It would have been very easy to say one of those standard phrases that he should have ready. For a situation like this. It was a terrible event, and we're doing everything we can to support the Hawaiian people, and we're going to the federal government is going to do everything it can, and so forth. He didn't even bother, so he could care less. It's all about power to him, power, influence, and his dirty mafia money.
Yeah, and his wife didn't even push him to say anything. Of course, she's right there with him. I mean, I'm not a fan of her at all, and. When you see what goes on down there, yet everybody's attacking Trump, but guess what? Trump came out and gave a long speech about it, saying he's with the people of Hawaii and all this, what's going on and everything else down there. I posted it's actually out there on a couple of sites out there, guys. Go ahead and check it out and look what Trump said. It was really nice way he said. And all this stuff that he's going through, I'm starting to see all these pictures like when he was down at the fair the other day. DeSantis was down there. Where was this? Ohio, where was this fair? I can't remember. Do you guys remember? Where DeSantis?
Iowa.
Iowa, thank you. Sorry. So Iowa the other day, apparently Trump flew over in his plane and everybody got excited. Right over DeSantis and all that. Flew in and everybody
DeSantis
was super excited.
Talking to the governor of Iowa And right near the end of the interview, when they were getting ready to wrap it up, Trump flew over and drowned the whole thing out.
Yep. That was good. And everybody was cheering for Trump.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. His numbers are way up. And just remember, guys, they're going to do everything they can to lock him up. I might try to do it illegally, but you can still vote for Trump if he's even in jail. And he'll pardon himself, and God help whoever's out there that went against him when he comes out. That's what he's talking about, guys. You understand? Because they said something. He said something last week like that. Not about him going to jail, but he said the people are coming at me.
Not afraid. They would be saying, no, don't charge him. Let him run. He can't beat us. He doesn't have a chance. Don't throw him in jail. That'll give him an excuse. Let him. But you know what? There is not one Democrat saying that. Not even RFK.
Nope.
And so, there's not one of them that's coming out and saying that. And that should tell you everything you need to know about, why they're going after Trump.
Exactly.
Yeah, there is one other point, however. The polls say Trump is way ahead. But the polls in 2022, those polls said the Republicans were way ahead, and it was going to be the Republican sweep, which never happened.
True.
So but there was something that happened, if I remember correctly, and I don't remember what it was, but something happened that brought the Republican polling numbers way down closer to the election. And I'm trying, there's so many things we talk about from time to time. I forget what it was, but it was something within like the last 3 or 4 months. Oh, the Dobbs decision.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, so when they overturned Roe v. Wade, that basically electrified a lot of people on the left. And, a lot of them just came out and said, oh, we got to stop this. And they didn't realize it was already a done deal. Supreme Court already ruled on it.
Yeah.
That's true. But the election in 2020, that was rigged. What's to stop
I have no doubt in my mind.
To stop them from rigging the 2024 election? I mean, how do we know that we even have elections?
Well,
I'm not convinced that there are elections.
One thing that's not going to help Biden is COVID this time.
Yeah.
You're right about that.
That was one of the biggest things he had going for him, even though Trump got the vaccine out, guys. And of course, we've talked about vaccines. Obviously, I've got this whole thing. I'm for vaccines, not for that one myself. I did not get vaccinated for that vaccine, and that's fine. I did quite well when I got COVID. But again, the first round of that virus was bad. We all knew that. We've talked about that. But like we said, it gets weaker over time. But anyway, regardless, Trump did get it pushed to get that out. And yet, I'll say it this way, that he did do a good job. But over time, we found out the vaccines may or may not work. It's up to the individual what they want to say about it. I have my opinion on it, what I've heard. And I'm seeing
but
a
he
lot
could
of
only go off what he was
it.
told.
Yeah, exactly. And that's where I'm going. But he pushed it. He tried to do the right thing to get it done. And he did take the vaccine himself. So.
But he thought, and what he was told was that it was legitimate and that it was going to work and all the testing pointed in the right direction and everything like that. So all he could do, because, that's one thing people forget. When you're a president, whether you're Biden or Obama or Trump or Bush or anything, that's why you have experts in charge of certain fields. And they're the ones that go out and then they report back to you. And unfortunately for Trump, he was given bad information about the vaccine. But, hey, at least he took the restrictions off people to work on it. And, he got something out there. Now the fact that it was a piece of garbage that didn't really do anything, that's not his fault. But, he was misled.
Hey, I'm wondering how the JJ vaccine would have worked over time, if that would have been a good one, because they stopped that because obviously the other two, there was all that money involved. Fauci was involved in all that, as we know. But that's another story, too. I don't want to really get into that tonight.
Well, for my older crowd, I can tell you how the JJ vaccine would have worked.
What?
It would have been dynamite.
Jerry gets the applause. The audience loved that one. Okay, so for those of you kids out there, Dynamite, go back and look at the 1970s. That'll tell you how old some of us are. Not me,
TV
of course.
show Good Times.
Good Times. Okay, never mind. Charles, maybe I'm not the good singer. I was listening to Charles. He didn't really understand that I was listening to him earlier before we got on the air. I had him on the phone. He was singing in the background. I don't think he knew I was actually there listening to him.
No, I didn't, or I wouldn't have been singing.
Well, all I know
I
is
thought I was old.
outside of the studio here, I heard some dogs howling and stuff, so I wasn't sure.
One more point about the impeachment.
Yeah.
So the method of impeachment, as I understand it, is first there's a congressional inquiry,
Right.
which we want Kevin McCarthy to start. Then there's a vote by the House
Correct.
on whether Biden should be impeached. If the vote is yes, impeach him, then it goes to the Senate for approval,
Right.
where it would be dead, because the Senate has got 49 Republicans, 48
Right.
Democrats, and 3 independents.
Right.
3 independents.
I believe it is. Yeah.
Yep.
Sinema, Angus King, and Bernie.
Right.
Right.
Bernie.
They're at 51-49 as far
Right.
as the votes.
But
Yep.
those the independents, they're on the Sinema. I don't know, but Angus King and Bernie, they always vote with the Democrats.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, but here's the problem. It's not a matter of the votes that you
Right.
would get in the Senate, because I believe that people with a conscience and a soul could actually be persuaded to vote properly. The problem with the Senate is that somebody that's a coward like Schumer may not even allow it to the floor for a vote, because he's the leader of the Senate. So since he's the leader of the Senate, he decides what comes to the floor and what does not come to the floor. So
in a successfully voted on impeachment by the House, that he's not compelled to bring that to the Senate floor?
I would have to look that up, but I don't know. I
Not
don't
sure
think so.
on that one.
Because I know that Mitch McConnell brought
Yeah.
it because they wanted to exonerate Trump. And so, McConnell brought it to the floor for a vote. But, my understanding is that the Senate Majority Leader decides what does and what does not go to the floor.
Well,
So that means
And the
that,
same thing in the House with the House Speaker.
okay.
that would
But-
be one person making a decision.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's why they're. So and I do want to bring something up. So let's just say they started the impeachment proceedings on Joe Biden. So what's going to happen is people are going to look at that. They're going to hear a lot of evidence, most likely if it got to the Senate. They're going to hear it from the House for sure. And then what's going to happen is, even if it got turned down, people are going to look at this and they're going to say 2 things. They're going to say, well, you know what? Maybe 3 things I want to go into. They're going to sit back and they're going to say, well, we got some evidence. We heard about it. And guess what? I think we're not going to vote for Biden if he tries to run again anyway, even though he was impeached. That being said, because the Democrats are going to just kill it anyway.
Well, that's true. That could be a motivation for
Right.
some Democrats to vote
Right.
for impeachment, because
Like
that
Joe
would
Manchin.
Yeah.
Biden off the that would knock Biden off the ticket, and
Right.
they would have to bring someone else in, Gavin Newsom, or they want Michelle Obama to run. There's
What?
always RFK. I like RFK. I like a lot of the things that he says.
Well, him I like, but you just said some names that I despise. But before that,
Like Michael Obama.
Who they want is Gavin Newsom, because he's got great hair, and Michelle Obama.
all right. Enough with the
Either one
hair,
of those is a
Charles.
disaster.
Enough with the hair, okay? Oh gosh.
Yeah, but if you
I
have
want-
Newsom and
Yep.
and Obama on the ticket, I don't think that works, because
No.
I think people don't want to see 2 guys running. They want to see a male and a female.
Yeah. Hey,
Yeah, that's
wasn't-
been in the news lately. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
all right, guys. Moving on. I wanted to finish my conversation, what I was saying here, but not only that would happen, but guess what would happen? It would show that Kevin McCarthy actually tried to do something that
Exactly.
the Republicans looked at. I'm going to go through a couple things that the Republicans looked at, other people looked at and said, hey, you know what? The man tried. We went, we did this, we tried. He's been impeached through the House, but guess what? We have a chance now of saving the House because we did that, because now people aren't going to have faith in Kevin McCarthy in the House. So next time it's time to vote, guess what? The Democrats might get the House and Senate, all because Kevin McCarthy sat back and did nothing. Am I right
Yep.
on this?
Absolutely, you are.
What?
Well, yeah, that sounds right. Well, you know what? I
Charles
miss
is
Newt
thinking.
Gingrich.
Go ahead, Charles.
I miss Newt Gingrich. I miss someone
Yep.
who's got some, let's say, guts.
Yeah, I know, but we don't have that right now. Unfortunately. I don't know. I feel like Kevin McCarthy's afraid of something, or he's a rhino. I mean, he is a California boy, from my understanding.
When I see him on TV, he looks to me like he's on the ropes. He's reeling from the punches.
Oh, yeah. He's more into it because I've been hearing him, I go out and greet the people and I meet the people. Okay, it's great to go out and meet people, but you should be doing your job right now and being in office and actually doing something about all this. Greeting and meeting people over time, they're just going to give up on you. They like the big talk, but walk the walk. And you're not doing that. Also, Jerry and I talked about this. I think we may have all talked about this in the last podcast. Not only go after Biden, impeaching Biden, but the people around him, some of the people. Go ahead, Jerry. You know the people. We talked about it. Mention names.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, see, that's the thing. Part of the problem that we have right now is we have so many people that are appointees that weren't elected.
Yep.
And so since they're appointees, there's very little actual oversight of those people. So, like, for example, Alejandro Mayorkas, the Homeland Security guy.
Yep.
That guy, he should be impeached, okay? He goes into Congress and tells them the border is under operational control and the border is secure. It's not. It's not even close. It's a flat-out lie. And I just remember seeing a recent interview with him, or not interview, but when he was being questioned in the House, and they were asking, well, if it's operational control, what is operational control? And he wouldn't give an answer. And these guys, if they won't give an answer and they won't do their job, they shouldn't continue to get paid. Well, as long as they're employed, they have to be paid. So impeach the guy, throw him out. So Mayorkas, Merrick Garland, the attorney general, should be impeached for some of the stuff he's done. Christopher Wray. If you start impeaching the people around Biden, and then what you do when you impeach those guys, you offer them some sort of a deal. Hey, look, you know what? You want to keep your job? Give us the dirt on the big guy.
Right.
That's interesting. That's exactly the same tactic that the Democrats are employing against Biden. They're going
absolutely
after
Trump.
Everybody in his circle.
Yep. Exactly. Even that guy that runs the storage facility at Mar-a-Lago. Some poor guy that just like a mid-level worker. But they're going to go after him to try and ruin his life and say, "Oh, see what Trump did to you."
Yeah.
Yeah, they ought to go after all the groundskeepers, too.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, and let's talk about that open border, because I know he thinks there's no open border, but why is this going on? I'm going to mention some things, and they're out there. We're seeing videos of it, and it's terrible. It's tragic. I actually saw it personally myself in Asheville, North Carolina, where I'm going to go into it. Sorry, guys, it's going to be a little graphic, but maybe somebody needs to wake up and see this, because obviously Marjorie Taylor Greene had to post pictures. She got yelled at for posting those pictures, but it's a shock factor. Wake up and see the true evidence out there. But I mean, we went into a nice restaurant in Asheville. We used to go there all the time. And you got a guy and two homeless people, a guy and his girl, they were out there, and he's just sitting there, no shirt on, nice restaurant, taking a needle, in front of children walking through the restaurant, into the restaurant, shooting his arm with fentanyl. I talked to the manager of this restaurant. I'm not going to mention the name of the restaurant because it's a really good restaurant, and manager was great. And he said, there's nothing we can do about it. By the time the police get here, they really can't do much about it. They just try to ask them to leave, but it's been going on all over our cities, and it's fentanyl is what he said. And I heard it from many more people. And when you drive down Asheville and parts of Asheville now, it is, I've seen it. It's all over the streets. People are camping out in certain areas. I'm starting to see it. Look, I saw it in Philadelphia just the other day, a video of it, and people were just barely able to stand. They're falling apart. Things, I mean, they're literally like falling over and things too. It's absolutely crazy. Let's talk about it.
You know what that is?
Yeah.
That's a chemical attack on the United States.
Well, yeah.
Absolutely.
Good point. A good point, and yet nobody's doing anything about it who should be doing something about it. This whole administration.
That is China, and that's China and the Mexican drug cartels.
Correct.
The cartels are in it for the money. China's into it because they want to destroy the United States, and that's a chemical attack. They had a biological attack on the United States. This is a chemical attack on the United States.
We
are in World War III.
Taking over from within. That's what they're doing. It's called taking over from within, fighting within. And when you have
Trump is right.
Yep.
That border is open. All these countries all around the world, they don't want to pay for the prisons and they cost money, prisoners and insane asylums. So they're taking all those people out and they're sending them to the United States. Good. Give them all to the U.S.
Charles got fired up. I like this.
You mentioned that because I grew up in Miami, and that's exactly what happened in the Cuban boat lifts. Castro went and said, holy cow, the U.S. is letting all these people in. So he literally went and emptied his prisons, emptied his mental institutions, and got rid of all his undesirables. And, instead of keeping them from escaping Cuba like they used to, he actually, told them, hey, get out. Don't ever come back. If you're ever caught here, you're in trouble. But, and so by the time a lot of people in America realized what was going on, it was too late. They were here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's not only there. It's in D.C., California. I can go through many more cities. Most of them run by Democrats. By the way, our own North Carolina is run by a Democrat governor, which obviously he knows I don't like him. He doesn't like me. But that's another story. So,
hey, Brian, real quick, I just looked something up.
Yeah.
I was incorrect.
Okay, good to know.
Senate rules call for an impeachment trial to begin at 1 p.m. on the day after articles of impeachment are delivered to the Senate, except for Sundays. So basically, if the House impeaches somebody it must begin at 1 p.m. the next day, unless the next day is Sunday.
Good to know. It's interesting to know that. And see, guys,
so Schumer is compelled to do it. Okay.
Yes. And see, guys, for you guys out there, that's why we do research and we have to look it up. Jerry's good at it. I'm good at it. Charles is good at it. But it takes time to look it up, and we may run on the fly sometimes like this. But guess what? There's your evidence. There it is right there. Instead of saying, my friend said this or somebody else said this, you got to get it right from the horse's mouth and right there. So thank you.
Ryan,
thank you, Jerry.
I got to jump in real quick because I heard the silliest thing. It was one of the things tonight. I was having dinner, and I don't like to take a table in a restaurant away from a waiter. So a lot of times I'll just sit at the bar, even if I'm not drinking. And so tonight I was sitting at the bar at the restaurant I was at, and these two guys to my left were in from out of town as well. And the bartender got talking to them, and she's like, "Where are you from?" She says, I heard you say that you're from out of town, and this is what made me think about when you said I heard a friend say. And the guy says, I'm from Virginia. And she says, where in Virginia? I've been to Richmond. He goes, no, I'm from outside of Richmond. I'm from a place called Manassas. And she steps up and says, well, that's rude. And he says, what? And she says, that can't be a real name of a town. And I was like, you're just being rude. She thought the word Manassas was being crude. This is where our education system is nowadays.
Oh, gosh.
She did not know that Manassas was a real place.
It is. I was going to say, I've heard of it.
If it hadn't been in the Civil War, I get it. A lot of people would, but our education system isn't teaching. That was one of the first battles of the Civil War. They fought two battles there. And, it's amazing, though, how just unbelievably inept our education system is leaving our kids when they leave school.
Oh, yeah, I know. All right, well, we're going to end this podcast. Anything else from anybody else out there, guys? You guys got anything to say? Last words?
School, I wouldn't call them schools. I would call them socialist indoctrination chambers.
Yeah, my friend Lee is taking his kid out to Western Carolina this weekend, or maybe it was this past weekend. Anyways, I think he did just drop him off this weekend. And he said, he goes, I just dropped him off at indoctrination camp, is how he put it. And he goes, I hope he comes back halfway salvageable.
Oh, well, I hope so, too. I don't know what's going on, but the world's changing. Only this stuff that we're going through happens in third world countries. When you're trying to indict somebody like this, because you got a former president, who I think still our president, but former president who actually has an opinion to say, hey, I have a right to say that it was not a fair election. Well, guess what? Because he said that, they're going after him. That happens only in third world countries. This has never, ever, ever happened in the United States before.
Well, and the premise they're trying to charge him on was basically an amendment that was added to the Constitution to give slaves the vote to the right to vote. And it's like, and so Therefore, it says nobody should be deprived of their right to vote. And so what they're trying to do is trying to say that by Trump being dishonest and lying, that, he tried to deprive people of, their proper voting rights. And I look back and I say, okay, well, Adam Schiff was lying the whole time that he said that he had evidence against Trump. Why isn't he up on charges right now? And
well,
so,
exactly.
The idea that this only happens in a third world country, not necessarily true. It happened in Nazi Germany. It happened in the Soviet Union, in 1917 and shortly thereafter. I mean, Lenin and Trotsky, they were big competitors. Stalin and Trotsky were big competitors. Trotsky got an ice pick in the head in Mexico.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So it does happen in first world countries. But when it does happen, you got some serious problems on your hand.
So thanks for correcting me on that, Charles. Sometimes I do make mistakes, but it was a little one because it doesn't happen as much. But in third
Brian, just remember this phrase.
Yep.
I thought I was wrong once, but I was only mistaken.
That's right.
Yeah, everybody just laughed. Okay, thanks, guys.
You were wrong. I was just amplifying on your point.
Well, guys, congratulations. We are no longer going to have these two on a podcast again. No, I'm kidding.
As long as it's because I don't get an ice pick in the head.
That's what happened to Trotsky. He was in Mexico. Yeah. Someone snuck up behind him, and that was the end of the competition for Stalin.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. Oh, one last thing. That's what I was going to say. Guys, I've been noticing on social media sites out there, they're showing pictures. That's where I was going with the fair and all. They were showing pictures of Donald Trump. They were Photoshopped, by the way, but they're saying, look how weak he is. Look how bad he is. He's falling apart. I heard one today that they posted out there, and the guy says, they found Donald Trump non-responsive. He's they're wondering if it's breaking news. It's going to be on the news in a little bit, all this stuff. And I'm like, so much crap, so much lies, and people are getting hyped up. They're out there going, really, really, really? I saw it on the left. They're just going crazy, and they're like almost celebrating if that happened. I'm like, you guys are out of your mind. If Joe Biden or anybody actually did die, I'd feel sorry as a person. I may not like him as a president, but I'm not going to go celebrating and going, yeah, all over the thing, because it's not the right thing to do, being good, decent people. Oh, okay.
Yeah, the socialists are cheering every time someone gets canceled also. Yeah.
Yes. Well, you call them socialists. I call them communists, plain and simple. There's just another word of it. It's just, I call it communism.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way.
Yep.
Yeah. Talk about canceling.
Yeah.
Okay. They were pimping Bud Light all night at the restaurant tonight. I was watching all the people around me. Every time somebody would sit down, hey, can I get you a Bud Light? Hey, can I get you a Bud Light? Nobody said yes. Mm-hmm. But it was hilarious because the bartenders were all, so I guess that Bud Light has maybe come in and offered them some sort of bonus if they sell a certain amount or whatever. But it was hilarious. So speaking of canceling, that was pretty funny to watch all these people get offered Bud Light when they sat down and they're like, no, thanks.
Oh,
wow.
I was driving.
At the Sturgis motorcycle rally, which was about a week ago.
Saw that.
Yep.
Yeah, 250,000 people. I've been there before. They had a big Bud tent, outdoor beer garden thing. Nobody in it. All kinds of people there.
Yep.
Nobody.
And Bud Light was the main sponsor this year.
Oh, wow.
Did not know that.
So they were like the main sponsor, and it's like, and everybody just kind of ignored them. So not only, so you want to talk about the money they've lost in revenue from beer. Think about when normally you go to a place like Sturgis to add customers to your base, and you give away free beer and you give away T-shirts and posters and stuff like that. And then people go back, I had a great time in Sturgis. Bud Light's my favorite new beer. And it's like, but now, up there you get beat up if you were seen with a Bud Light.
Hey,
those are real Americans.
Right.
Yeah.
And I was driving out of my subdivision a couple days ago, and I saw a Bud Light can on the ground in the middle of the street. Two things. I said, well, the Democrats are polluting again. Tells you it was a Democrat that threw it out on the street. So there you go with your climate change, guys. Also, yeah. I'm like, well, if they're in our neighborhood, I guess if they're going through some type of change, we'll know it soon enough. Yes, your name was Bob, but now it's a whole different name. Now it's Sheila or something. I don't know.
Roberta.
Yeah. Or vice versa. It could be yes. There you go.
Roberta can now be Bob.
Or whatever.
My wife just told me that she went to Target and she saw right here in Raleigh, and she saw all of the I don't know what you would call it, gay wear, trans wear, prominently displayed. So
again,
yeah, it still is.
Wow.
Yeah, and we're not against gay people. The problem is we're against things like the transgenders pushing themselves into sports, I mean, they can do whatever they want at home. Don't take it on the street. Don't do all that stuff. And also, when it comes down to it, I mean, children especially. I saw, matter of fact, what's her name? That just won lost the soccer game. Not won, lost. She
Megan Rapinoe.
Yes, I saw her in a shirt the other day. It says, "Protect transgender kids." What the hell was that? And yes, I'm cussing. What the hell? What an idiot she is to say that. I mean, children, ridiculous. Ridiculous. She shouldn't even be playing in the sport. She should be kicked out altogether. Kneels every time, turns her back on the national anthem. She shouldn't be any part of America. Kick her out of the country forever. They don't even want her here. Anyway.
Yeah, this whole cram the trans movement down your throat movement. Women are getting the short end of the stick.
They are. They're taking women's rights away. I've said it before.
Yeah.
Talk about real women's rights that they said they fought for, which they did for many years, women did, to get rights back years ago. I get it. But they got plenty of rights now. But to do this stuff, they're just trying to take it away from the women who really worked hard for this.
Yeah,
you know what? Actually, that's a great point. That's a constitutional violation by the Biden administration by supporting the trans movement.
There you go.
Because one of the very first tenets of the Constitution is life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Yeah.
And so if you're going to offer that, you're taking away the opportunity for the pursuit of happiness from, real women, actual women.
True. Yes.
Yeah. So, that might sound like a stretch, but it's really not.
No, it's not. Yeah. I've said it before. I've said it on a podcast last time about taking women's rights away.
I have no problem with gay or trans. What I have a problem with is the politicalization. Is that a word? Politicizing.
Yes.
Politicizing it, yes. And I'm there with you.
You're creating a special class that doesn't need to be created. If you're gay, hey, that's up to you. It's like, if you want to date somebody of the same sex, that's fine. Sure. It's like, but the thing is, why should you have special status because of that?
Feels the same way. I have never met a Republican that hates gays or hates trans.
No.
They all say, live your life. It's up to you. That's your business. But it's the I can't remember the wording.
Politicization. Just mumble it and it'll sound good.
Hey guys, can we have
Charles? It's funny you say that because over the years I have had a number of people who have, basically told me they were gay, looking for the shock value, and when I just let it go right over the top of my head and just went on with the conversation that we were in, they kind of look at you funny, and some of them will actually bring it up, like, "Did you hear what I just said?" I'm like, "Yeah," And see, that's the funny thing. Most people on the right don't really care. They just want to be left to live their own life, whether they're gay or straight or whatever. Yeah, it's like, but people on the left demand some sort of special status or, some sort of, special dispensation. Oh, we should have special protection under the law. What do you need special protection for? It's like people, we make our laws way too complicated. You know what? If a crime is committed, a crime's committed. Yeah. And it's like, there should be no such thing as a hate crime. A crime is a crime.
Right.
And, so if somebody bullies you because of your sexual orientation, bullying's wrong.
Yeah.
All right. So I was going to say, on that note, we're going to probably end the podcast here. So, guys, again, we're not against anybody who's gay. If you want to do the transgender, that's fine. It's your choice. Just don't dance on the streets naked in front of children. We've said that. And again, just, it's just being pushed in everybody's face. But I want to say one last thing. I want to say maybe we should get a flag that says heterosexual rights, and we should have heterosexual month.
And we can put all kinds of letters on it and symbols and
straight line.
Or just, you know what? Actually, you just hit it on the head, Charles. You got the police flag, the thin blue line, and the fire flag, the thin red line. It's like, we could just the thin straight line. It'd just be a white flag with one black line right across the flag, the thin straight line.
All right, guys, just want to thank everybody for being on the podcast tonight. So I definitely want to thank everybody for listening. My advice here, guys, is definitely what you need to do is you need to go ahead and get a hold of Kevin McCarthy's office. I mean, literally go ahead and start going after him with phone calls. Go after him with email. So, guys, let's give you a phone number for Kevin McCarthy. Write this down, guys. This is what I got. My understanding, it's area code 202-225-2915. Again, that is 202-225-2915. Also, you can go under an email, under the website, I should say. You'll find the email there. Which is kevinmccarthy.house.gov. Go in there. You'll see his email in there. Blast him with emails. Blast that place with phone calls. Phone calls, you understand? Phone calls, guys. Nothing else. Don't go there. Somebody might take that wrong. No, don't do that. But no, go after that with phone calls, emails, and tell him what you think. Say, look, it's time to impeach Biden. Move forward with this and quit talking about it. That's really about it, guys. I hope Kevin McCarthy turns around on that because really, I'll be honest, there were things that I like. He does. I respected him when he started. Jerry had his opinion. It was a little different than mine. He wasn't quite there. Jerry had a good idea. And Jerry may have read it out right here. He may have actually knew this was going to happen. Your thoughts, Jerry, before we end that? Because I know you said something.
What you and I were discussing the other day was, I was never that confident in McCarthy being the speaker and doing the proper job and, getting things done the way that we needed them to get done. I wasn't scared of him being in there that he would do a lot of the wrong things. I was just concerned that he wouldn't do enough of the right things. But the other thing is, too, there's a lot of people I would have liked to see better than him as Speaker of the House. But one of the things that McCarthy did is he put in the work. He went on the campaign trail for other GOP candidates that were running for office and helped them get elected. He helped raise money for the GOP for, elections in 2020 and 2022. So the guy went out there and he put himself out there and he put in the work. And I respect that. I just still think that he's not necessarily the best guy that we could have. Now, could we do worse? Sure. We could have John Boehner again. We could have Paul Ryan again. But, McCarthy's at least not as bad as them yet. But, he was never my first choice. He was never my second or third choice. But he put in the work, so I got to give him some respect and props for that.
Charles?
What Jerry said. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So anyway, I just want to say it because
I have something off the subject. I understand that Disney Plus just raised their price by 25%. I think it went from $10.99 a month to $13.99 a month. So now is a good time to cancel.
Yeah,
no kidding.
Well, that's why they're losing money, so they're desperate to get
we
money.
lost too many people, so now the ones that stayed with us are going to get penalized.
Yeah. So anyway, going back to Kevin McCarthy, I was going to say this though. I hope because I'm going to post this on his I'm going to post it on his social media sites. And guys, Kevin, if you're out there listening, please respond to me too. Go to just-commonsense.com, or I should say www.just-commonsense.com. Love to hear from you. I would love to have you on a podcast. That would be awesome to have you on a podcast because let me tell you something. Turn my opinion around here. Prove this and do the right thing because when you started, I was excited. I actually was a little worried at first, but you were doing a great talk. You were doing things that I was excited over. People were talking highly about you when you got in there. Now, though people around the world, or not around the world, but around the country right now, I'm hearing them. I'm hearing a lot of them speak. What's Kevin McCarthy doing? He's not doing much. I was excited when he got in there. But Kevin, you're not living in the real world. You're not hearing it from the real people out here. You're hearing it from people. Yes, I got visitors in the White House. Peek said hi to me and stuff, but you need to get out there in the real world. It's almost when you're running for an election, you're out there speaking to the real people, the grassroots people and everything, and maybe this is what you need to do and find out what's really going on out there, what people are really saying about you. Because honestly, right now, until you prove this and start doing something, I'm not happy with this right now. And I would love to see you turn this around. That's all I can say about it. Any thoughts before we end it?
The biggest thing that could show that he's doing his job is if Democrats start criticizing him.
Yes.
Because there's an old saying from old bomber pilots in World War II that the anti-aircraft fire is always the thickest when you're over the target. So the shots are always thickest when you're over the target. So if the Democrats are complaining about McCarthy, in my opinion, that's a problem.
Yeah, good point. Good point.
Good
so
quote.
I hope he turns this around. I know Marjorie Taylor Greene's already trying to get him to, and it's not just Marjorie Taylor Greene. I can go into many of them. Huh?
Greg Stubbe.
Oh yeah.
From Sarasota, Florida. He's the one that filed the articles of impeachment. He didn't just present them; he actually filed them.
Yes.
And so now McCarthy needs to make a decision.
Yeah, it's time to make a decision. All right, Kevin. Well, let's see what you do here, buddy, because I really want you to turn my opinion around and the American people, because I'd love to see you stay in there as House Speaker if you're doing a good job. Okay?
I would love him to prove me wrong.
Prove us wrong. That's all I'm going to say about it. Prove us wrong, and then we'll respect you. But right now, you've lost all the respect for me and many people out there because you're not doing anything. Because the Democrats are outplaying you. They're thinking, it's like chess. They're thinking 5 steps ahead of you, and you're falling back. And I play chess, so I understand how it works. Maybe you need to play this like a chessboard, but you got to be 5 steps ahead of the Democrats on this. And that's where you're weak at. You're not doing it. So, guys, anyway.
Do like that Star Trek chess, that like 5 level or 3 level or whatever.
I'm out on that one. I don't play that. All right, guys. I'm going to go ahead and end the show right now because this was going to be a short show, and I am supposed to be watching a movie with my wife later tonight. That means I'm going to be up late. So, guys, just want to thank everybody out there for being on the podcast. We'll see you again on the podcast. Do want to thank our law enforcement for everything you do. Want to thank our military for everything you do, our first responders, our truck drivers, our farmers. And is there anybody else I missed?
People working.
Oh, yes, people working. There's still shortages. I don't know how that's happening, but I go into places we don't have enough staff. How the heck are these people even getting money? I have no idea anymore. I just don't get it. Nobody wants to work, half the people. And they're all the young kids. They want to stay home and live off their parents and live in the basement. I don't know. All right, guys. Well, anyway, thank you, and thanks for listening. We'll be on in another day or two. If something happens tomorrow, we're going to be on tomorrow. At least maybe I will be. I don't know if anybody else will be. We'll see how it goes with this, if they're going to do an indictment tomorrow, and we'll go from there. God bless you. God bless America, and thanks for listening. Take care, and God, as always, I say, keep God in your hearts. That's a big one right there. That's the main thing. Thanks for listening. Take care.